Ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it. Another episode. This was, when I first started the pod, this was one of the episodes that I wanted to make sure to have, was to get you on here. A cool, like, full circle moment, because you're a former coach of mine, a former trainer of mine. So it's cool to be back here. So I appreciate you finding the time and taking the time to be here.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, I'm glad we got a chance to reconnect, and it's been fun just watching you grow and get into training. And you're right, man. It's just full circle.
Yeah,
for sure.
Super cool, man. So for people that don't know who you are, give us a quick little bio of who you are, what you do, where you've been. Take us through the journey.
Oh, man. It's getting longer. The story's getting longer. Well, I mean, I'm originally from Springfield, but I've lived in St. Louis on and off for 18 years. I played college up here. After I graduated, I just stayed. I had a short little stint in Belgium, and I hurt my knee. So really, it starts with the end of the career, right? It's like that's usually when coaching starts. So it started with me hurting my knee, and then figuring out what I wanted to do next. And honestly, I was looking at places to work. I was looking at gyms. I was looking at all sorts of stuff. I found this jankety website that was the Sports Center, and I went over to check it out, and I walked in and nobody was there, and it was just empty. And I heard a basketball bouncing, and I went in, and Darian Head was given a one-on-one, and I was like, this is awesome. This is basketball training. So really, like, to be honest, like, that didn't really exist. I was working with kids like back home when I was playing. I would come home in the summer and I'd work with them. So that kind of started training. And then, like, really here, it was just starting at the Sports Center and starting with high five, starting with little kids. My first team I ever coached was a 5th grade team. And it really just kept moving. It seems like it's went really fast, to be honest with you, because I mean, just watching a lot of you guys graduate college, I think it's it's surreal in some way. Just because Dalen Dalton just graduated, like Cortland's about to graduate here another semester. Thinking about that and thinking about them when they were 12, it's like, my gosh. So, that, and honestly, that's really probably the most rewarding part of it, is just watching the process. And, it took me a while too, to figure out what I really want to do. I hustled a lot. I worked a lot of odd jobs so I could keep coaching and training basketball to where I could try to make it enough money and support myself, because it was really just me. I was rehabbing my knee at the same time too, so there was I still in my mind was like, I'm gonna come back. I really was, like, in my mind I was like, I'm gonna train some kids, I'm gonna make some money, and I'm gonna come back. And I kept training for maybe like 3 or 4 more years, where I trained real hard and was real disciplined with it, and didn't eat any sugar, and just all the things. But once I started coaching high school, and then that's kind of where it changed. When I got to Tower Grove, I trained a young lady, and her dad was the girls' coach at Tower Grove, and he was like, "You need to come over here and talk to the AD and everything." So that's kind of how that played out. I went over there, interviewed, got the job. It was really small. There wasn't a lot there, but for me, I didn't really even care. I just wanted to. It was just something I wanted to do. because I wasn't teaching, so I had to work during the day anyway. So this was kind of that was my outlet. It was just I would work, and then I'd get off work and get to go to practice. Like what a better way to end the day. And then a lot of times I'd get off work, go to practice, and then after that I'd do lessons from 6 to 10. And I did that for on and off maybe like 10 years. And that's really like even through coaching high school. 7 years as a head coach, high school, at Tower Grove and Lutheran North, and then building out Rocktown, which is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
The teams were probably the most challenging thing, because it's something that I really loved, but it almost hamstringed me in my growth, because I really probably should have, in hindsight, really just focused on training. Because like once you're coaching AAU, then it's like you're not home on certain days. Your training window kind of shrinks, and you're kind of splitting your time between both. And eventually you have to pick. Like what avenue am I gonna go? And that's something I struggled with, was like figuring out like, where is this going? Because it's fine. I had some good success at high school, but then eventually I'm like, what's next? Like I don't know where it goes, because I just didn't really have an interest in teaching, even though like I subbed and stuff, and I enjoy the kids and everything. It's just not what I wanted to ultimately do. So when COVID hit, that was really what honestly changed the course, because I coached that last year. I talked to Coach P a lot that year and helped out over at MOBAP. Like I helped out at MOBAP and I coached high school. So I did like split that first year. Like,
what high school were you at that time?
Lutheran North.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that last year, and then I don't know, it was weird. It was COVID. I had so much time. I had like because it was really like I worked at a gym. So those were the first things to go.
Yeah.
Right. So that was shut down. So I was just literally with my unemployment, I was just kind of, I was still saving up money. And then, honestly, I probably never would have been able to get into college coaching if I didn't do that for 10 years. If I didn't work and then save money and 16-hour days, like I probably wouldn't have had that year to give myself. You know what I mean? To really like that next year, like I just went and said I was just going to be at MOBAP full time, even though I wasn't getting paid full time. But I was like, this is kind of what I've worked 10 years for, save money up for. So I talked to my wife about it, and she was like, do it. And then from there, it's just kind of been a wrap. Like then I got on full time, and then last year Coach P left, Taylor moved up, I got named associate head, and here we are. But yeah, it's really like, it really doesn't seem that long. When I talk about it now, it seems like, gosh, dang. But it's,
That was my first takeaway, was it's motivating to hear you say you put in the work for 10 years, because I fall into the trap sometimes of like, I need it now. I want it right now. When is it going to be my time? But then as I take a step back and like hear stories like this, 16-hour days for 10 years, it's motivating and like relieving almost, because it's like this trust of you put in the work every day for enough time, faith plus consistency,
Oh, for sure.
So that's motivating for sure.
No, and honestly, there was more opportunities, honestly, along the way. I mean, there was, and there will be, and that's
like
the thing.
For you, you're saying?
Yeah. For especially to coach, because I've always been a player, man. I've always been a player. Even when I coach, I'm a player's coach. Like I'm not a traditional guy in that way. I love skill development. I love develop. Like I will be the underdog 100 out of 100 times, like I'm perfectly fine with it. Like I just want guys that want to grind and I'll roll with it. So for me, it's like I had a few opportunities to kind of get into coaching at the college level. I had 2 different ones, and at the time I was just like, it just didn't feel right, and I didn't do it. And that could have, that if you look back on everything, you could always be like, well, I could have done that, I could have done this. But at the end of the day, like, it's really just deciding what's best for you at the time. And those are the hardest ones, because you're going to come to those moments where it's like, or even like with Rocktown, I got approached a bunch of times. Hey, let's merge. Hey, like, I can scale this for you. We can, we can do this. We can do this, or even training or teams. Right. And it's like taking those meetings, it just never felt right.
Yeah.
Cause you know what I mean? And so it's the same thing. You're going to run into the same stuff with training, because you're going to get to a certain level. And then it's just like whenever companies try to acquire like profitable small companies, like they're going to be like, hey, he's got a thing going here. I don't really want to compete against him. You know what I mean? Like, and those are like really those are the hardest ones. Those are hard. Leaving Lutheran North was hard. Like leaving the girls that I brought in there was hard. It was hard, man, because they're like they trusted in me to come there. It's not, St. Louis is different than almost anywhere in the Midwest. Like your relationships with parents and everything, like and being in the city and being in the community and putting in the time, like it matters here. You can't just walk in here from Texas and be like, I'm going to be a head coach. Like that doesn't happen, man. Like, and I was blessed in that way that St. Louis kind of adopted me from playing here and then just really just being around, having a lot of friends and just getting involved in the city and just giving back a lot. Like they really did, like, in a lot of ways, like took me in and, it helped me a ton, getting a job and being able to help kids get to college and all those things, man. It's just crazy to think about that it's been so long.
That's another way that you've impacted me a lot, is like the values that you have. Like you're speaking on the underdog mentality, and you just want guys that can work, and like you'll take that 10 times out of 9. And then you mentioned like the opportunities to scale up and whatever that may look like. And what I take from that is like it's the values that you have. It's the relationships that you build with people. And that probably takes you, it's not even a take you farther thing. It's like it's a happiness thing, because you're doing what you want to be doing.
Oh yeah.
It's this idea of like, there's a quote or something, but it's like you sell your soul, but at what cost? Like you could have 6 figures, 7 figures, but if you're not happy, and that's a huge way that you've influenced me for sure.
Yeah, it's not always easy, like, I had a conversation with a dad one time, and his son plays in the NBA today, and he was talking to me about going through the process of picking a school. He was probably going to be a one and done, and they both as a family chose a school that didn't offer him money. And they said
this was before NIL.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Now I gotta say that, but and everybody at the time, was really going after him, offering his dad jobs, offering to pay for this, give them money, XYZ, and then he was like, I didn't want it to affect my son's future. He was like, that was the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing was like, what if this comes back? And it was just like, I was so taken back by it, and it was refreshing, because I was like, this dude is standing on principle. Like he's betting on his son. He knows his son is going to go to the league. I don't need anybody to give me anything. Like I know my son will produce. And he even joked with me and said, hey, when I go to fill up the gas tank every once in a while, I think about it, but that really stuck with me, and I think a lot of it comes from just, I've had a lot of really good mentors, like I really have. I've been blessed, from high school to college to be with winning coaches, guys that stood on principle, guys that didn't let guys slide. And that really sticks with you as a person, over time, is that it's like, I want everybody wants some sort of fame. Everybody wants some sort of recognition. Everybody wants, but like wanting is just not it's not tangible. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always tangible. It's just really not. Like, what we're talking about is sleep good at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, peace of mind. Sleep good at night. Feel good about what you're doing. You know what I mean? Feel like fulfillment, true fulfillment. Like, and being okay with guys getting jobs. Coaching, when getting into, like, especially college coaching, is the biggest. It's like everybody just complains. Like if you go and you sit at any event, everybody's like, yeah, well, our budget. Oh, well, we can't get this kid. Oh, well, I think I'm blessed in the way that since I've come the direction I've come, I don't think about it that way. Dude, I'm like, we get to get this kid.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh, well, And it's like some guys that get straight in, they're kind of spoiled in a way, and it kind of hurts them. I think it hurts them recruiting wise too, because they don't take as many risks. They don't see kind of the value in some of the things that kids do outside of basketball, or even the intangible things they do while they're on the floor that doesn't have to do with scoring, doesn't have to do with their athleticism. Like I wouldn't do it any other way. Like 10 years, I'll take it, because I think getting on the other side, it helped a lot. And honestly, that's why I talked to you about coming in to MOBAP, because I think there's, at the NEI level, I think it's like the perfect balance, because my best time of the year is summers, so I train in the summers. So I train guys. I got guys come back from overseas or whatever. I train them, and then during the year, I'm locked in and I'm coaching. So like for me, like this is the best of all scenarios,
And so it's cool to hear your perspective on this too, because you have like the coach's lens and the training lens to look at the game through. So in turn, like, let's say you're working out a player at MOBAP. Are the drills that you have them do related to or based on like the offense that you guys run, or how does that work?
So here's the cool thing about summers in NEI. There's just like, I'm probably going to get fired for this. Summers in NEI are kind of like, it's whoever's around. So with guys in the summer, I'm gonna build outside of our stuff. Like if I think somebody, if it doesn't quite relate, I'm gonna be fine with it as long as I'm growing them. So it's kind of like in those unseen off hours, like I'm gonna experiment a little bit.
I think that's the nature of summer, is to expand, right?
Yeah, and it's like that's the time. The hard thing is we can't scholarship in summer, so we can't keep guys on campus and stuff like that. So really the guys who benefit the most are local guys. So that's the hard part. But to answer your question, during the year, like especially in preseason, it's going to be pretty locked in. Everything is going to be based out of concepts in our offense and finding their scoring zones. And we'll even break it down to point guards, wings, and forwards. We don't even say bigs anymore, because we don't really play like that. And the bigs like to be called forwards. that's kind of the
it sounds more like versatile.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got a bag.
I mean, you know, almost all fours can shoot the three. I mean, like, so it is in some ways, but yeah, to like break those things down, like this year we're, you know, if we run, you know, anything out of ball screens, we'll do a lot of ball screen work, especially out of like reads and how it's being guarded, if it's a hedge, if it's a blitz, if it's an ice, right? If it's a step up, if it's in the slot, if it's in the middle of the floor, like all the different ways of how to set it up, how to come off, like chin on the shoulder, making sure we're reading, using our eyes, having pace. Those are all things like, because it's not really limiting. I thought at first, because I was like, man, like these guys just shoot shakes out of the corner like all day, you know?
Shakes.
So if you're in the corner and there's a ball screen on the strong side and you're coming off, the guy that's in the wing or in the corner is going to shake to the wing. So it's called a shake. So you're basically lifting out of the corner. Yeah.
Oh, so love this. Because then the guy guarding the corner, who's like usually responsible for tagging,
yeah,
it's like distracted kind of.
Yeah.
But
and so like we shoot a ton of shakes, we do, and there's nothing wrong with it. But even at first, I was like, man, we got to get a little saucy. We got to get these guys, you know, because everything it was like finish off 2 feet, and it was kind of limited. But it was good because once you get them to do it, and that's the thing about a program, once you get them to do it, you can just stack and add. That's the best thing about having a guy for 4 years. Like a recruiting pitch for me, for a high school kid right now, is that if I get you for 2 years, you're going to be better than any transfer I can get. Like, so I want high school kids. Give me high school kids. If you guys don't want them, you know how much higher level high school kid we get to get now at the NEI level? Now that they're being passed over,
it kind of gets like filtered down.
Oh yeah,
like the mid majors are now going D2 and so forth.
Shoot, Sawyer Huff, Tristan Wiggins, those guys that we have coming in, Sykeston, South Iron, like 10 years ago, they're not coming to MOBAP. Like honestly, a little over half of our roster 10 years ago. It's not a MOBAP. It's not an AMC. 5 years ago, before COVID, they're not in the AMC. They're not. They're not in the heart. They're not anywhere. Like like Austin Lewis, 6'10", shoots the three, went to Holy Cross out of high school, like went to Midwestern, came here, like. So the development side is really cool, but for high school kids, I think that the people that are going away from them, I think whenever they start to regulate all this stuff, they're gonna be hurting, because some people are starting to not even have a feel on high school kids, or even like how to evaluate them. Like, is he gonna be good enough and all this stuff? But like if you're looking at it from a development side, you're like, man, this kid's got some tools. Like, give me a year to build him out. You know what I mean? And he's gonna be solid. But not everybody looks at it that way.
Yeah.
It's a risk, too.
And because I know Coach P is a huge portal guy, and a ton of other coaches, obviously, but it's the idea of like 2 years college experience over a high school kid, which there's a time and a place for both philosophies, I think. So as a college coach, when you are, let's say, evaluating a high school player, what like criteria are you looking at? I would imagine I won't even lead it. Like, what criteria are you looking for?
What do I not have to teach him? I think that's big. Like I think it can be daunting if you look at all the things that you have to teach him, but what do I not have to teach him? Like if those things are big, like then the rest is easy. Like he's gonna have to check a lot of boxes outside of basketball, right? That's really what it's gonna come down to. High school kids, if they want a chance, they have to do things outside. Like you need to have good grades. Like you need to do it. You have good grades, especially in high school. Like you got to have good grades. That's one thing that's going to make you more appealing. It's going to give you a chance at a higher level to get your foot in the door, to prove yourself. Because you're not going to go anywhere and start most likely anyway, especially for the mid-level kids. So you might as well do the one thing that can actually get your foot in the door. Because if a guy says, well, I don't have to worry about him, I don't have to worry about him going to class, that's a big thing. Like for me, it's like, how far away is he? And the things that he needs to get there are those things that are gym things? Are those things that are weight room things? Are those, what is it? Usually, like, I'll break down the guys we have coming in. The guys we have coming in are high GPA. They're great guys. They're responsive. They're responsible. They get their stuff done. They've been. We just started our strength training. They're all in there posting their workouts, sending stuff like these. They're just affirming everything that we thought about them. Like, these are guys that are going to come in, they're going to work, and they're going to go get it. Like, I'm looking for gym rats. I'm looking for kids that, like, if there's not a gym, that they're going to go find a gym. Like, and if they have to shoot outside, they're going to shoot outside. Like, that's why I love Southfire. I love Boot Hill kids. I love kids with limited resources because they're going to figure it out. Those guys are going to figure it out. They're just going to. And, watching them and how they interact with their parents and how they interact with their coach. Because like I said, if somebody comes in and they're on a visit and they're disrespectful to their parents, think about that. And another guy said this a long time ago to me. If they're not going to respect their parents, they're not going to respect you. Like, it's a big thing. Like how are they being coached? Are they coachable? You know what I mean? Like, these things are like outside. I know we can put it in the hole. I know we can do this because I wouldn't even be sitting in the gym if he couldn't play basketball. I know he can play. Does he fit the need? And like, how many boxes, does he check and how far away is he? I think that all those things kind of go into it. It's kind of messy, to be honest with you, because you're really in conversations with the AAU coach, the high school coach, the parents, and you're trying to figure all these things out. Of like, is this guy really dedicated? Because that's really ultimately what you're looking for. Honestly, if a kid's 2 inches taller and not dedicated, I pass. There's 6'6" nobodies everywhere in the low major Division I basketball. 6'6", 4-point a game nobodies. They're everywhere. They're walking around. They got length. They have size. They have frame. They look good. Everybody wants the meat market, and there's a time and place. If I'm going to the meat market, I'm getting I'm getting forwards. I'm not doing it with guards. At the NEI level, I need skill and dedication. Like, I need IQ. I need people that are going to go get it. You give me a 6'4" point guard, it doesn't work out. Like, that doesn't do anything for me, really.
Yeah. So let's go back to, you said there was that one day at center, you walk in, Darian's working out someone one-on-one. Was that your introduction to skills training? Because we had talked about this before we started, about how the evolution of the training industry and like it's booming now compared to then. Was that like did you look at it and like, oh wow, I hadn't conceived of that? Or was there already kind of this idea of skills training back then?
For me, it was like I said, I worked with guys back home, but you're
like teammates?
No, so I had a seventh grade team that I took from 7th grade to 8th grade.
Nice.
That I worked with, and like dads were like, hey, you go and work out. And then I remember just a nightmare trying to find gyms, even my own high school, like just trying to like get in all sorts of places. We were always having to like switch things around. And then I walked in, I was like, this is like a real thing. There's a place that has 6 courts, and these people, they can just come here to train basketball. Like, that was the first time I saw like stability in it. I saw it as, for me, it was more like, oh yeah, I like this kid. Like, I want to see him do well. Like, I'm gonna work him out and help him out. You know what I mean? Like, and then it was like, I didn't know that it was scale like that. Like, there was actually like a place where people did basketball training. Like, I'm like, you work here? Like, this is what you actually do? I've been working all these odd jobs like my whole life and stuff. But so it's kind of like, that was really like opened my eyes. Like, it was a possibility. And then I like started doing training out of there and working with High Five. And yeah, I mean, that's where I got my start.
And was High Five, you said working with them. So like, was that already a team, or was that you, Darian, and Lucas like making it?
No, so Darian had the Sports Center Hawks. And
that's right.
And then he had the idea, because this is really Darian. Like, he had the idea, he put together High Five. And then we started doing skills and drills, and then we started doing teams, and then it was me and him, and then like there was like, you know, like 3 or 4 guys that would like come and help out and do, like, they would coach a team, and then sometimes they would do skills and drills. And then it was maybe a year or 2, and Lucas started coming and helping out. And then from there is whenever we started to transition over to the prospects, because that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. It's a learning thing. So I got to watch it. That's another reason why I didn't want to switch and stuff, because we did it. And it was a little bit better, but we could have kept our own thing. Like, that 8th grade group that we had was good. And then the 2 prospects years, we were actually really good. We were competitive. My 16s and 17s were good. That 8th grade group, that freshman group, was really good. Like, it just wasn't, when you really looked at it, it wasn't ours.
What do you mean?
I mean that somebody else owned the prospect.
Gotcha. Brand,
you know, and it's like we should have held on to it. And then whenever the Sports Center closed, you know, and we were basically doing stuff like at all different gyms.
We were at the Bud Dome.
Yeah, the Bud Dome. We were at Shriners. We were Afton Rec Center. I mean, I was all over the place.
Yeah.
Richmond Heights. I was just doing it anywhere and everywhere I could get a gym, or maybe some of the parents had gyms, had access to gyms and stuff. So, you know, that was kind of, yeah, it was a whole like where Darian had the vision for it, and then we had the players. It was fairly organized. We just, you know, it's like doing the prospect thing and then switching. And then I was like, well, we're just going to do this. Lucas was like, let's just do it, make it Rocktown. And let's, like, we can do it all out of Tower Grove. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm with it if that's what we want to do. So that's kind of the way we went. But, you know, it was weird because, like, I wish it was like a, you know, a whiteboard, a plan where, you know what I mean, where it was all like, yeah, and then we're going to do this.
The SWOT analysis.
Yeah, there was no scale. It was kind of like what was next. And part of that was like, you know, there wasn't as much basketball training. There's not as much, like, there's good money in bad basketball. And like, there's only so much I'm willing to sacrifice on that. That's just the truth about it. Like, if you're not going to make your freshman team, I was like, it's no offense. Like, I love all the kids and everything. Like, that's more of a skills and drills kind of thing. Like, but to do a one-on-one or to do a small group, there has to be some sort of skin in the game. Like, there has to be buy-in to where it's like, this is what I'm sacrificing for, because that's the way I felt I'm sacrificing. Like, I want us to be in this together. Like if we're training together, we're in this. Like that's it. Like we're 10 toes. And I didn't ever want it to be transactional in that way, to where it was like, well, Jimmy's never going to play high school basketball, but he has fun, joking around with you and shooting one hand and trying to figure out how to dribble. And like, I think the skills and drills part was the most valuable part of that. Because I think Darian himself helped a lot of kids build their self-esteem. And I think there's some really positive, and I'll tell you this, I don't think that there is skills and drills anymore. Like I don't think it's, I think it's trying to make enough money to live while you do 13 one-on-ones at the same time. Like I think that's a lot of it. Like I think that you have the lines, but the things that the kids are missing are skills and drills, are like 11 man and like true team skills and drills. Like, because that's really what teaches the character. So like we're always about these kids like, oh, the character's not the same. Like they're not being held accountable the same. Like they get to do some of the coolest moves and play short-sighted games and do that stuff just like the high school kids do. Whenever realistically you should have to earn it. You should have to be able to do 11 man and 3-on-2, 2-on-1, and you should be able to have to talk on defense. Like there was nobody since. So let me go back. So St. Louis is the only place in the state where they don't have sanctioned 7th grade and 8th grade basketball.
Sanctioned meaning what?
Misha.
Okay.
Yeah. So like everywhere else, they play each other. So like where I'm from, you play each other from 7th grade to 12th grade. You don't start as your freshman year. It's one thing that I think we have CYC, and then that is whatever it is. But I think that's really where you learn the skills and drills stuff. Like, when's the first time that any kid learns how to truly talk on defense? Like, hopefully it's whenever they're in 5th grade, but a lot of times it's not. Or even knowing, like, not just saying ball, or just knowing where it is and knowing where to be and learning the game. Because that's where we're missing kids. Kids are just missing out on that. Skill is through the roof. It's 100% more skilled now than when I played. 100%. Like, I'm honestly jealous. I'm so jealous that some of the moves that I have even learned and taught myself that I know that works, I was like, man, we couldn't even do this move. Like, even though like we had versions of some of it, but the game and the offense, we were blocker, mover, pump fake, jump stop. Like there's just so much more freedom in the game now, even at the high school level. So like training is a good thing. It is positive. It's more positive whenever it's done with an accountability piece to try to teach them how to be on a team. Because I think that's really what hurts kids, is that they don't know what it's like to be the worst or the best, right? It's like you need to have some sort of rank. You need to be in a gym where there's some sort of hierarchy. There has to be. So if I'm doing 11 man and I'm doing it with an 8th grader and I'm a 6th grader, I got to figure it out. I think there's value to that. We're not getting that in pickup, because we don't play pickup anymore. Because the people that I see play pickup are kind of like, they're the people that wouldn't even play basketball 10 years ago because they'd feel insecure about it, because the guys that are really playing basketball are playing on the court. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting how it's kind of changed. I will say though, skills and drills, I think, is the biggest takeaway that I had from it, that I thought was like a big thing. Because we had kids that were making their high school teams that 2-3 years ago, they would have no business doing it. And it's only just because they had confidence, they knew how to talk on defense, they made left-handed layups, they ran and they worked hard. Like, we have guys that are talented that don't do any of those things, and we take them on teams because they're tall, because they're dad, because this, because that. And that kid, he just turns into a spoiled kid that runs into a kid from Texas, which most of the time, most kids, Missouri kids run into, where he's been made to do all those things. And then they take advantage of us.
I remember we had a conversation a while ago and you were saying, like you were talking about white kids, white hoopers from Wisconsin, how they're just tough, talking shit, and how, you know, not to paint a broad brush, but like generally a lot of kids from St. Louis, I feel like might not have that. But it is interesting what you were saying earlier, like the context of why you go between into a same foot, same hand, why you do all that stuff. And then the next level is like, okay, you can do all that stuff. You can do the 2-ball, you can do the tennis ball, you can do all that. But like, can you handle pressure off a live dribble while surveying the other people? Can you get your team organized into a set? Can you be physical with your arms to go get a catch on the wing? Like that type of stuff is where the small-sided games and the 11-man and all that come into play, because you're able to, like, okay, a skills trainer, skills, but then do I need to go hire a screen coach to teach me how to set screens, you know? Like, but if we just do 11-man or 3v3, whatever the constraints are, like that stuff comes out naturally, which is why I love that stuff.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. We do a lot of short-sided games to teach concepts and just put the defense at a disadvantage, and limit the reads so that it makes it easier. And then you can scale it from there and add another body. Usually always put somebody in the paint so that either, if I don't have enough numbers, you'll have to finish outside the paint so that they are just aware where they are on the floor. But ideally you have an extra help side guy to where they have to finish. Because in college basketball, not in NBA, but in college basketball, you're going to run into 6'9" help side, and you're going to have to be able to score, especially if you get deep enough to actually see them. And those are things, like, I agree with you. I think those things can be done. I just think they have to be earned. Because my biggest thing with kids is what I tell all the kids I were working with them from when they were young is like, you have to master effort first. Like that's the first thing you have to master, because everything is nil without effort, without the actual like mastering of like what effort looks like, what it feels like what level can you actually push yourself to. That needs something very small. The goal has to be like talking on defense. It's got to be something that is doable, but it's something that you can do and go really hard. Because at first, if I tell him I'm gonna go tween spin, like he's not gonna go very hard, and he's never gonna master how hard he actually needs to go. Because you'll have a lot of talented kids, and I'll see them in elite camps, and they just don't go very hard.
Dude, elite camps are, if you're trying to watch talent not go hard, go to any like elite camp.
And it boggles my mind, because when I was playing, there was no such thing. I never got to go to a smaller school where I would actually, like, I went to Mizzou camp with my, and there was those camps, but, hindsight is what it is. Mizzou doesn't want me. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with it. Like I try to tell people all the time, man, like it's hard to play college basketball. That's one thing that people got to realize. Dude, it's hard to win at college, let alone play all 4 years and graduate. Like, that's the thing, is like, the goal should be to have a good career, because that's way less than 1%. For people that actually get feedback from college players and they sit back and say, yeah, I won and I had a good career, I can count on one hand, maybe two hands, of people I came up with that can say that, let alone with the kids that I've seen go through it and watched all of their turmoils of ups and downs of coming back in summer, down and out, trying to figure out how they can get a chance and how they can, if they need to, move and they need to stick with it and all this other stuff, and the feedback they were getting from their coach and trying to navigate it and play devil's advocate and play both sides and try to get them to think about, what they could do more of. And, because that's the trainer side, right? The trainer side is like, you're constantly filtering out, like, okay, yeah, that's tangible. You do need to get better at that. And the fact that you might disagree with the coach. I mean, you might. And, it's not popular to say, but it's true. You can't tell me that everybody agrees with every coach. But I think as long as you do it constructively, I think that you, the adult, keep them focused on the things they need to do while keeping your personal out of it. Because there's a lot of coaches I didn't care for. I didn't think that they put a lot of effort in. They didn't open up the gym they didn't even have open gyms for their teams. I mean, and these are guys that coach 4A basketball in high school, and they don't even have open gyms. They have no weight room time. They don't open the gym for their guys. Like, I don't have a lot of respect for it. So it just is what it is. Now, they can do whatever they want. That's their job. My personality's different. But we have to be okay to disagree, And I'm still going to tell that kid, to do what he needs to do. I'm still going to communicate to him, the right things, and I'm going to keep my personal out of it. And I think that's where things get hairy, is when ego gets involved. And if you know a guy is not real sound in X's and O's and runs the same 3 things every year, and and you're like, well, he just has limited opportunity. Yeah, but what is a way that he can find more opportunity? Because the thing is, you're only as good as where you are right now. Like, where your feet are, that's as good as you are. That's it. So there's nothing more than that. We can talk about what could be more, and we can complain about the coach, and we could do this, but our feet are here. So that's the tough thing, I think, about being a trainer, for sure, is seeing the limited opportunity, knowing that they have more. You're getting emotionally invested because you spend so much time helping them, and that they put in the work, and they're good kids. And it's weird because it's me as a high school coach. I was just like, I'll tell you this: I didn't have a tryout. I've never had a tryout. I didn't have a tryout at Tower Grove. Now, I had less numbers, but I had kids on the team. If you come to practice, we'll start this day. I started that first day, and if you can be here at practice and you can contribute, you can be on this team. I did it. I did it at Lutheran North with a really good team. And I had girls on that team that came to practice every single day, and they didn't play because they wanted to be a part of it. And I'll never keep somebody from that. As long as they can physically do what needs to be done, if they can contribute to practice and they want to be a part of it, like, I don't need a tryout. They asked me in that job interview because they had 6 girls coming back that were potential, like, all should start probably. Maybe even 7, to be honest. And they were like, how are you going to decide? And I was like, they're going to decide. They really are. That's why you design practices the way you design them. They're going to decide. Because that's the thing, is like, people don't think it works because they don't understand buy-in. Buy-in is so hard. To do it every day, Like, honestly, some of those kids, like when I was in Tower Grove, I had a 7th grade kid. I had 2 7th graders that were on varsity. They were great kids.
You can do that?
Yeah.
In Missouri?
Yeah. And in CC. Yeah.
Okay.
So in Christian School League.
Got you.
You can. Because when we would play PHL, and I'll tell you this, we went, gosh dang. The school just right down here off Kings Highway. If you go down the military school, I don't even know if it exists anymore.
There's like 3 different gateway schools over here.
We played a PHL school over there. It's a military school.
McKinley, Roosevelt.
Well, no, we played McKinley and Roosevelt. Well, we got in foul trouble. No, I had Cortland. I had some guys. I had Cortland. I had Luke Thorberg, played at Midway, NEI 6'8". Like I had some guys. But once we got in foul trouble, we were in trouble. I had foul trouble. I'm telling you, I had a 7th grade kid hit a floater on the baseline to beat a PHL school. That's a real story. That kid would do anything you asked him. Like he would do anything. And he really wasn't that special. But at the end of the day, like, that's why I'm like, if I get agitated with high school coaches sometimes, because I'm like, dude, if they're willing, you gotta be able to use them. You gotta find a way. Now I get it, like Chaminade, but some of these guys that I'm talking about are not Chaminade. So it's like those things, like, to me, are like the biggest things. Like that might have been one of the brightest spots about that year. Like, it's just watching him hit that shot and have all the older guys just celebrate. Like, he's not supposed to be out there. He wasn't. When I was at Lutheran North, my first year, we went out and played at St. Charles Lutheran tournament, and we played MICDS. They had Larry Hughes' daughter and everybody, and they fouled us all out. And we played the last 2 minutes of the championship game with 4 girls. And we won. But
really?
Yeah.
Damn.
But it was really because it was the mentality that we had in practice and that group had of not having tryouts. That's where it starts at. It starts with, from a coach, what you empower your kids to do and what you believe in them to do. And then what you can get them to do that they don't even think they can do. Like that's important, because when it came down to crunch time, if I needed to pull somebody in there, they were ready. Like, they were ready, and in foul trouble, we can give up. We could sit there and say it wasn't fair and that they treated us different because we were at Lutheran St. Charles and we were Lutheran North, and we didn't say any of that stuff. We weren't allowed to, and they didn't allow each other to do that. So that's, to me, it's like those little things, like, those are always my big takeaways. It's like that's why the underdog stuff, like, man, I've seen it. It'll work. I believe it. I believe in the people that I coach. Like, it's not always about capability. It's really not. It's about an unwavering sense of buy-in and belief in self. And a lot of kids, if they're not producing sometimes, it's honestly just because just like all of us, I struggle with it too. Like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm capable of doing it. And I think there's a lot of silent players that underachieve, and I think it's just because they don't feel like that people believe in what they can do. And if they're in your program, you have to believe in them. And if you don't have a vision for them, if they're not providing what they need to provide, then they can't be a part of the team. That's got to be, and that's the standard. If you stick to that, then I don't think it matters. I think that your wins and losses, you'll sleep like a baby at night, and you'll love your kids, and you'll love coaching. But if you start to say, yeah, well, Jimmy, well this, well that, you're going to be in a long year. You're going to be in a long battle, and you're going to be over talented, and you're going to underachieve for sure.
Yeah, because that's like there's like an evolutionary element to that, of having a group of people that you're cared for, and your coaches, your people, your teammates are going to look out for you. And I think that's cool, like not having a tryout, because that's like putting your money where your mouth is. Because you could say in a huddle, like,
oh yeah,
if you're good enough, like you're going to have an opportunity to play and all this stuff. But then to actually like follow through and say, show up to practice, like there's no tryouts, that creates the buy-in that you're talking about. Like, oh, I can trust what he's saying.
Yeah, and honestly, it's just like anything else. I think it's more terrifying than a tryout. To be honest with you.
How so?
Because nobody knows. Because the message is for everybody. Like if you're willing to do everything that we're about to do, like, and then their imagination can use that. Now, it's never really as bad as what they think, but talking to my players, they were like, they weren't sure what was going to be. Like, they thought like we were just going to run, like we were just going to run for 2 hours and I was just going to see who quit. Like, no. It was all basketball stuff. It's just really hard. It's hard. And, the constraints on the drills are hard. Like, you're going to fail. I want you to fail.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I want to see you fail. I do. And then I'm going to be there to help you get there. And your teammates are more than me. Because then once I build the constraints and once I build the belief, I'm out of it. Then I put a lot on my players' plates. I step away. I let them make decisions. After the teaching is done, for me personally, it's really just tweaking things, making sure that everybody is. I'm coaching people almost individually, like of what they need to do. Maybe if I see somebody struggling with something, maybe it's just behavior. It's mental or something like that. Like those things, I think like are the biggest misses, because in the best coaches I've ever had, they coached people. They didn't coach players. They coached people. People have to come first, because of that belief and buy-in will go a long way. You'll hit a lot of game winners. You'll get a lot of guys diving on the floor. You'll get a lot of girls to sacrifice. You'll get all that. You're not going to have somebody come in, because I never really had that many people come into my office or anything like that. Like, I really didn't. And I think really what it was is because they all respected each other, because how hard they had to go to just be a part of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, I mean, I could complain about her, I could complain about him, but he's also bleeding from the elbow because he just dove on the floor. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's the thing I always tell about our guys, like, because college is a little harder, to do that, or just to have that overall buy-in is hard, because it takes time. I think it's almost easier a little bit with younger, because it's one of their first experiences. But if you have guys in the transfer portal too, I think that's the biggest thing for me. The hesitation is like, I think you have to build a foundation and have staggered opportunity over time. So I don't want to over-recruit the freshman class. I want to make sure that it's staggered, that the opportunity is staggered for everybody. And then you have to sprinkle in your transfers, because there are forwards that we're not going to get out of high school. Like the forwards that we have, that we just signed, you can kick rocks. We're not getting them out of high school. So we do have to get transfers. So it's like, the answer is always somewhere in the middle. Like, you're going to have some JUCO guys, Yeah. Are you going to have a couple, you're going to have a transfer? Yeah. Are you going to have high school guys? Yeah. You have all of them. The answer is always somewhere in the middle, but that's, to me, like, college has been hard in that way. It's just like only having somebody for 2 years, and I don't envy the Division I guys, because I know that it's just a part of the system. It really is. Like, everybody at that level, and our level too in some regards, but you know, like, it's really put up or shut up. You got to get the guys there. They got to get bought in, and then you got to make it rock for 2 years. And either a couple of those guys are going to level up, or they're going to level out, and that's going to be just part of the deal. That's the reason why I love NEI, man. Really, because that's who I am. I was a small school player that wanted to play pro basketball and got like a small opportunity to do it, and I think that gets overshadowed a little bit, you know, because I was always saying, like, with Rocktown, like, my biggest thing was the mid-tier kids, because I knew that the top-tier kids, they're going to get taken care of in St. Louis, like in any city, like St. Louis aside. It's just the nature of the beast. You're going to play for BBE, like, you're going to be taken care of. But we had a whole lot of, like, and I say mid-tier, but, you know, like, the guys that were high-tier went NBA. So, like, not low-mid. I'm talking about Division II guys that kind of it doesn't happen as much anymore, but kind of got left out to dry. Like, nobody was really, like, you know, training them. Nobody was really, like, coaching them, you know, like, it was just kind of like, you know, some of them even got put on the team that was higher, and then they didn't get recruited, and that hurt them, you know. Like, it's great to be in the EYBL. I had a girl that played in the EYBL, and she was a great player. She ended up going to Colorado. She led Division II JUCO in scoring and everything, and she ended up playing at Hampton. And but when she was on the courts that she was on, South Carolina was on, Texas was on. So it's like, sometimes, you know, you really got to be conscious of the level of if you're getting recruited by the right people, because it may just be because you may don't have as many offers because no one knows who you are. Like, and it's weird to think about on social media, but I'm telling you, like, I got 300 DMs right now on Twitter, on X, whatever, like, of kids just looking for opportunities. Like, it's not that, it's just that we're only able to go to so many things. Like, I'm gonna hit a recruit look, I'm gonna hit hardwood, I'm gonna hit this. We're gonna be kind of in our Midwest bubble. We're gonna try to go to Texas for one. Like we have small staff, so a lot of these, like, Division II smaller schools, they're not seeing some of these kids. I think that's kind of nowadays. I think everybody's getting seen a lot more, and there's trainers and a lot more trainers, and I think kids are getting taken care of a lot more now. I think because it's grown so much, like, for sure.
It's definitely easier with social media. Yeah. You can promote yourself, and I know, like, on Twitter, AAU guys will, like, post their games for the upcoming weekend, and that wasn't something that we did.
No.
You know, so it's cool. It's cool for the players to be able to, like, leverage themselves and their position.
Oh yeah. And honestly, like, if anybody's and they're not doing that, like, you should do it. Like, everybody should do it. And it's so weird because you have more of a direct line to coaches. Like, before we were emailing people. Like, I was emailing all the way up until, like, 2017, 18. Like, the kids that I had that I trained, like, I would create stuff, send it out, email. Like, just email college coaches, you know, like, you know, the email has like a 13% read. Like, if I could send it out on X, and maybe I don't even know, maybe I could have. I don't know. But it really wasn't a thing.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about your style of training. You were, so like, I guess we haven't really touched on it. Like, so I was playing in a middle school game, 8th grade year for my school team. And then you and Lucas were at the game. And then like we chopped it up afterwards, invited me to a tryout for the prospects. And so that was the first time we met.
Mm-hmm.
And so did the tryout, made the team, practiced a couple times, and I felt like there was something missing on my part. Like the other guys kind of had something that I didn't. And I don't know how valid that was. It might have been some like imposter syndrome or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like I felt like there was something that they didn't have. And so that was my moment of someone else said that they like worked out with you yesterday is what they said. And I was like, oh, wait, we had practice? And they were like, no, like just me and him. He took me through drills or whatever. And then that just like, whoa. Like that was the first time I've like considered the idea of like a one-on-one training type of thing. And so we worked out at Tower Grove, and that was my first ever skills workout. And the stuff you had me do, and I saw you have other guys do, was extremely, to me, innovative and just intuitive. Like you would have guys do a max broad jump into a finish through contact, or like a push-up position with two hands on the basketball into a one dribble pull-up. What's the philosophy behind that type of stuff? Because you're blending like performance training with skills training. Is that how you see it?
That's kind of how I trained myself. I got really into performance training. So like, that's kind of, so when I say I worked full-time job, like I was a trainer. I had a full book and I was a personal trainer. And then I also did like performance training with like small group high school guys and stuff like that. So that's kind of like, and then it was really just a lot of trial and error of like trying to get faster, trying to figure out how to get things to translate. Because when I came up in college, it was really just survive. Like the best athletes are always going to survive no matter what the modality. So I was like in survival mode. And when I was lifting weights, like we were doing cleans, I didn't have good wrist mobility because I shot a lot and played a lot, and I always felt like trash. I never felt that good, like doing what we did, and it never really translated for me. And then when I went to Fontbonne, we didn't have a strength coach.
Shout out to Fontbonne, by the way.
Yes.
We both went
peace.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, a couple more months and then they're getting bulldozed. But I am rocking the SLIAC shirt today.
And honestly, man, like that's the thing about, I've actually never been happier and more fulfilled when I played at that level. And I think that it's one thing that makes me more well-rounded when I look at schools and stuff, because it was just like, honestly, I never even heard of D3. I never heard of Fontbonne. I never heard of anything. I knew a guy at the downtown Y knew me, and he knew I was looking for a school, and he was a judge in Springfield, and his brother was the assistant coach. It is Lance.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So Lance, the head coach there last, 6 years? Like, he was the brother of a judge in Springfield that had watched me play in the Pro-Am and watched me grow up in the downtown Y in Springfield, and was like, this kid's looking for a place. I don't think he has anything. So I literally went up here on a visit and was like, dude, I just want an opportunity. Like, in the end of the day, like, I just want to play. I want to play. I want to keep going to school. Like, I don't want to go back home. Like, I don't want to be, for a lack of a better term, like everyone else. Like, I just didn't want, I wanted to keep it going. So honestly, like, I just kind of relinquished a lot of it. A lot of like the expectations and all that stuff. And I did my own strength training, and that's really how I just kind of fell in love with it again. Cause it was just like, it was hard. Like JUCO was up and down, and then Missouri Southern didn't really work out. So it's just like, it was just all these things, and then finding a place and just finding some peace of just being able to finish out my career, play well, win, like have great friends, like just have a great experience. Like, that's why, like, even the recruiting process, I'm with the guys, like, I just want it to be a great experience, man. Like, I want these guys to be able to have a good career and have a good experience. Like, because that right there can just help propel you, you know, to getting your work done. I had better grades there. I had better class attendance. Everything was better. My relationships were better. My mental was better. Like, I was just playing. I really wasn't thinking about it. I didn't have any preconceived expectations. So, like, that honestly, like, being in charge of your own strength and conditioning can be a good thing or a bad thing. But through trial and error, I was able to figure out some things, and some things that were a little more translatable to the game. And that's why I started doing with, especially the older, like all the high school guys, the older guys, is trying to give them strength on the court. Because I already knew, and they're going to bench and squat and deadlift. They're going to do all those things. But, like, nobody for a long time was ever even talking about it translating. Like, that wasn't even a conversation. Or what your feet are supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, just being able to jump with no shoes, like being able to use your toes, like all those things. Like, 2016, I got a post of doing that with John Yeager, who's All-American at Missouri Baptist, like when he was 16 years old, like, of just teaching him how to push through the floor and just use his feet. Like, those things right there, like, some of these things are just so transferable. So, like, for me, it was like, some of it was experimental, but it was trying to be innovative in a way that got them stronger on the court, and not just, in the weight room kind of things. Because that was always a segment, right? And then you have, like, your true skill, and then you have, like, maybe something that's an action that you want to break down, that, like, a ball screen coverage that they're not good at. Like, they're getting beat up in the blitz. They're not good at being hedged. Like, work on it. Then it gets a little more meticulous. But with that, it was like, that was like the golden era of, like, having a gym, being able to train, and being able to experiment and test, retest, and see what was actual, and what was helping, and then what wasn't. Like, some of the things, like, I did it, and then I was like, I don't know, I kind of like this more, and then I kind of switched it. Sometimes you got to be adaptable. Some of the things I did, it doesn't work. Like, Drew Hanlon has a funny thing, like, about how 2-ball doesn't work. It's like, I mean, it doesn't. If I have a 5th grader that has a bad attention span, 2-ball could be a good thing, because it keeps him engaged. He has to focus. He has to focus on trying to master something. That is a skill that when you have 1 ball, you will be slightly better. Is that going to make him make moves in a game? I don't know. But at some point, not everything is going to have a 100% return, and not everything is going to have a 100% carryover.
And I think not everything is going to have a zero carryover, which I think,
yes, I think that's a better way to put it.
what gets lost in like the skills training world is like, there's a bunch of different philosophies, mic and drill, 2-ball dribbling, that type of stuff. Like the people who argue against it, it's like, oh, that doesn't work. To me, it's like, well, it could work. Like I could do mic and drill till I'm blue in the face and I'll probably become a better finisher. But it's just about how efficient is it? Optimizing the hours that we have on the court.
Yeah.
So that's what I think gets lost in it.
Yeah. Cause like, yeah, better, same, worse. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's really what it is. At the end of the day, like I agree with you. You will be a better finisher. You'll be better than if you didn't do it.
Yeah.
But is there maybe a better drill? I don't know. Maybe it's just what you start with. And then maybe the next drill is more difficult. The next drill is more difficult.
And I think that's the key, is that like, I'm big on like having that right amount of challenge, optimal zone of improvement. Like if something's too easy, so mic and drill, after a certain point, it's just not challenging enough. Your brain is going to check out. You're not going to be present, be where your feet are. And so then like the term paying attention, attentional currency, you have to pay attention to get results is kind of how I look at it. Mm-hmm. So like if you're just going on autopilot doing micing, you might not get better as efficiently. Mm-hmm. If instead you're doing like something in the middle, because if it's too hard, then you're automatically just checking out like, I'm not going to get it. F it, you know? But if it's like right in the middle, it's just that good balance of you're paying attention, you're getting challenged, getting the skills like bulletproof.
I agree with that. No, I definitely agree with that. That's a tough line. I think that's the art though, right? It's like figuring out how much to challenge somebody. And that's in coaching, like everything aside, like, because if we go run 100 suicides, you know, how many people are you going to get to quit? Like how much is too much? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the thing about coaching people. And being a trainer, I think helps with coaching is like, you kind of know the throttle. You can feel the room a little bit. Like if I can feel when a practice is going down, I can feel when the intention's going down. Like you can feel those things because you're used to feeling them. You're used to looking for it. Like, okay, like how much more can he really take? Like if you can do that with a team, and coach people that way, like you're gonna have a good team because you're emotionally aware of what's going on in the room, and you're not just doing what you want to do, which is what a lot of it turns into. Is like, we have this, we're gonna do it no matter what. You guys are just gonna eat shit if you like that's just what it is. And there's value to that at some point, but in order to get to that next level, we have to do it, not just me. It has to be we. And I want my guys to want to do it. That's why I recruited them. I want you to want to do it. I want you to do it because you care enough about the person next to you, and selfishly that you want to do your best. Like if you're not doing that, like you can train and some of the stuff, the drills, like you can do a same foot stop. You can do all those things, but your intentions around it and who you are as a person, like those are the things that are going to carry you in the end of the day through all the ups and downs and when you're missing shots. Because there's everybody, that's a dime a dozen, man. There's so many guys that just, they have a hard time throttling it and they can't stay here, and they're 100 or 0. They're 0, they're 100. And they can't manage their emotions, and it hurts them in their performance and their games. And it's like, because at some point, man, we're building robots. Like these guys are bulletproof, like skill wise. Like some of these kids I see, to be honest with you, like working some of these camps, I'm like, gosh, man, he doesn't need anything else. He just needs to come live with me. I just need to grow this dude up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I just need him to follow me around a little bit and me just to slap some sense into him. Because that's really like, it's a lot of nowadays, it's not even about the skill. It's about like the person. It really is. And I think that like, and I think Drew, I think a lot of these guys are relationship based. That's why they just were able to scale it to a high level. But they build relationships with these guys. These NBA guys trust them, and that whatever they're telling them is for their best. And like, that's incredibly hard to do, because those guys, they don't have any reason all the time to trust. You know, like for me, the only pros that I work with are people that I worked with before. You know,
you got them you helped get to them.
Yeah,
level,
whatever you want to say it. I was there.
Yeah,
but it's just because I knew them from before, right? It was a relationship beforehand. It wasn't like I called a guy up and sent him a film breakdown. I was like, hey, I think I could really help you. That's probably not, you know, that's going to be a way harder sell to get buy-in. And I know that's how you do it and everything else. But, you know, for me, it's like, I don't know. I personally would struggle with it, because I'm more of an introvert. And when it comes to basketball, I really just like my circle. I like one-on-ones. I like I don't mind a quiet gym when we're training sometimes, you know, like I want to hear the basketball bounce. I want to hear the squeakers squeak. I want the sneakers squeak. I want to hear that. Like, I don't always want all the noise, and I don't really like always doing the big camps and stuff. I just don't feel like they're as valuable. I feel like I was like, every time I look at the kids, I'm like, you guys should just be getting shots up. Like, and you're just here, like, going through another drill and being told exactly what to do, and
being told what move to make, what finish to make, and then go wait in the line for like a minute and a half of real time before you do another one.
Yeah, like limited reps. I just don't. It's not that I'm against, like, if that's what you had to do on a Wednesday night, I would rather you do that than nothing. But I would like to see more guys do stuff on their own. I think being on your own, you figure out more, because then you don't adopt what the other coaches are always thinking. You know what I mean? Because like, I never wanted somebody to play like me, but you know what I mean? Like, that's not why I'm doing it, but I do see that a lot. I see people teaching moves that they did, you know, and I see that, and that's like, there's nothing wrong with teaching something like that, but I don't want them to play like me. I want them to play like them. I don't want them to cross over like me. You know, I want them to be better than me. You know, I don't want, it's like, at the end of the day, like, it's just not about what I want. It's about what they want, you know. Providing
that value, what they want.
Yeah, I just want to help. I'm just there to help. I'm facilitating. Like, sometimes, like, you just leave the finish. I just want you to go hard, you know, because we're working on something. We might be working on a footwork piece out here, and you just might say, like, we're going to have 2 finishes at the rim, like 2 finishes outside the paint. You know what I mean? Like,
it's up to you how you do it.
Whatever that is, that is.
Yeah.
Because once you get good enough at the footwork, right? If somebody can't come off a screen and go to like a foot replace or an inside foot to the rim, like, okay, like, we're gonna have to work on that, because then we can't do drills that end with one dribble pulls if your feet are messed up, or that, you know, the ball doesn't have the same time, like the ball and foot and all this other stuff. Like, but if they're good at all those things, like, what are we controlling at that point? Like, let them be creative, make sure they finish, and make sure they're accountable if they don't finish. Because, like, yeah, you want to go goofy foot finish? That's great. You miss it, you're still going to give me 5 push-ups. Like, so if you can't do that, then you're not going to do it, because you're not going to want to do push-ups. Or you're not going to, you know, it's like there has to be some sort of constraint. But
and so where is that balance for you of like, so you touched on the creativity, you touched on you don't want to make your player do it like you want them to do it like them, which I 100% agree with. I also, so like, how do you balance that with, like you said, if you can't do a foot replace into whatever, you're going to have trouble doing. So like, do you have like a certain specific criteria of like maybe moves, concepts, qualities that they have to get?
With shooting, yes. So for me, I'll do like, if I'm working with like our guys, and I'll do shooting workouts with them, and I'll do certain things, like I'll do a foot replace, but I'll do everything like off the dribble. So I'll make them dribble, because it's almost harder to do it with the dribble than it is off the catch.
Shooting?
Yeah. So a lot of it is like, we'll do like a 2 dribble sprint out, like out of the corner, and it's 2 dribbles and 4 steps. So it's like mastering like ball and foot. So you just have to go 2 dribbles, 4 steps. However fast, a lot of guys, you'll see a lot of guys, they struggle just going 2 dribbles, 4 steps. And then once you get them good at that stuff, then you can go 1 dribble and as many steps. But you want to stretch it out. So you want to get that ball to roll in your hands. You want to be able to manipulate it. So you want to be able to go ball and foot, but you also want to be able to let it hang. And so it's like trying to master the difference between those. But the ball and foot stuff, like 1 dribble, 2 dribble, out of the corner, all the stuff, all the different shakes, all the different reads off of screens and stuff like that, all doing it, just focusing on the footwork and making sure that they can do that. And then from there, it's just like, all right, let's put it under demand. Let's put a time constraint. Let's put a goal. Let's make sure that it's something that's tangible but difficult. You know, that with 10 seconds to go, they got to hit 2 big shots or 1 big shot. You know, like I think keeping things like that, it's like as long as it's trained and taught, like then it's got to be put under demand. And I think that's what you were talking about before. It was like, okay, now let's come off this thing and let's make a read off a ball screen. Because we did all the stuff. You have the footwork. You can hang it. You can look downhill. Like you can read the tag. All right, theoretically. But now you're getting blitzed. So now it's 3-on-3, you know, or now it's 4-on-4. Or now it's, you know, the coach screening or whatever it is. And you have to just read the defense and read the backside and see who to pass it to. And it's just pick. So it's only 2 reads. You're either gonna throw a short roll or throw it down the line, or you're gonna throw the shake. And you just do that until you just naturally. So when they get in the game, it's like, oh well, I know what's taken away and I know what's open.
Why is it called a shake? Is that a Jarvis term? Or
no, it's actually an NBA term.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. We used to call it a snap too. So you like snap out of the corner.
Okay.
We've called it a snap. You can call it a lift. You can call it a shake. Shake is like an NBA term. Like shake out of the corner. It's a Houston. So Houston ran ball screens and they would dive their big and then they would snap up and then they would, if they didn't have the shot, they would post entry. And it was giving tons of people trouble. So like with the Utah or the Houston where you pro back off getting hedged, like that was something that was called like a Utah or it was called like a Houston.
Like retreat dribbles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where you get out, you're getting out and then you turn and you look and hit the shake and then throw it into the post. And we did a lot of that stuff. We did it when we had bigs. We're going to do it more of that stuff this year too. Just because it's really hard. If you got good bigs, man, it's hard. Because one, if they're big, they're going to bury the shake. Like the guy who's tagging, they're going to bury him. They're going to hit him one time and he's not going to be able to get to the closeout. So it's like you got to pick your poison. And then if not, we play it slow. We either drive the shake or we throw it in the post. And it's like then you're just playing basketball. They're able to make reads. They know where their scoring zones are. They know what the expectation is. Players make plays. Then it's like, where are we scoring the most from? Okay, maybe we need to implement a set to manipulate that a little bit and go after it. Maybe pick on a matchup, put the ball in the middle of the floor, that kind of thing.
You mentioned scoring zones for the second time. Is that, what is it? Like individually where players are maybe quote unquote allowed to score, or is that like team shot selection? What is it?
No, it's individual.
Okay.
So some of it is positional and some of it is where you are on the floor, right? So if let's say I'm in the corner, I'm going to have scoring zones. So sometimes if I'm opposite, I'm going to stay. And then if they drive, I might slightly lift like to the bend, to get in a window. So I might score in a window. So like that's a scoring zone for me. So if I'm on the backside, I'm trying to find a window, and then I'm going to play out of a closeout. If they're not there, I'm shooting it, right? If they're closing out too tight, I'm right or left. I'm one dribble, two dribble, I'm making a play either for myself or for the team. And then if I'm same side, then I'm in the shake and I'm reading the tag, and then I'm looking to get baseline drives off of that because the rim's lifted. And then if I don't get that, or I get a shot, or I go middle, or if I drive and the big's in the middle of the roll, the big knows that he has to get to the tee up spot, and then this guy, he's getting to the corner drift. So my read is, if I'm getting here, I'm 2 foot finish, because when I'm here, I'm crabbing. So I'm 2 foot finish at the rim, looking for the tee up for the big, or I'm looking corner drift or high window on the opposite side. Like, it's like the scoring zones just help them have clarity of like, this is where we undoubtedly have belief in you to score. It's not what you can't do. This is what you can do. You are in this position because we believe in you and because we know that you're going to be successful here. And we wouldn't put you in this position if not. I wouldn't put the ball in your hand and put you in a ball screen if I didn't think you could come off and hit a shake, or come off and hit a short roll, or come off and shoot a floater and, hold in the hole and then be able to draw and kick. So it's like, ultimately, it's just, we just want to be so clear on our vision for our guys that there's not thinking. They can use instinct. You already know where you need to be and what you need to do. It's like, after that, like when you play out of a closeout, you play out of a closeout the way you play out of a closeout. You know what I mean? Like, they run you off the line. If they don't, shoot his face off. Like, that's what we're just going to keep empowering them to own that. And then they can take ownership and like, this is what I do. This is what coach wants me to do. This is what he believes in me that I can do. And now that's why I'm doing it.
And you see that when players trust that the coach trusts them, has confidence in them, I feel like the attributes go up a lot. 2 Fontbonne alumni sitting here. So Greenville, did they play the same way when you were there?
No, they didn't. They didn't? It's the same coach too. And
really?
And he didn't play that way.
Damn. So yeah, 5 in, 5 out, run up and down, score 150 something points. I can only imagine knowing that you have like the neon light to pull it, just ultra confidence. So that's why I wanted to ask you about that, is because I could definitely see, like you were saying, you're reading a closeout and like your instincts are just taking over because you know that your coach wants you to be in this position. He trusts you to make those reads. Mm-hmm. And like it just makes the attributes go up, I would imagine.
Yeah. I honestly, like, and this is, I have to say this because this is a cool thing, but I coached JV at Mobab. That was like the first thing. Is like I did it for 2 years. I had my group and they were my guys. And I had probably 2 or 3 guys that were like right outside of being able to play varsity. And honestly, if it was just a couple of different things, they would have played somewhere else. So we ran what we ran, and we ran the same thing as varsity. And I literally just preached over and over again. We We go through this whole preseason. We go to State Fair. It's their home opener. And so the year before we went there, and it was close for like a little bit, and then they just ran away with it. And the baseball team was there. I mean, they were, every time they were counting our misses and warm-ups, I mean, they were in our heads. And I watched these guys, like, because I think the JV thing is like, it's an interesting thing, because I have respect for people that put into what they really love to do. So like, to me, it didn't matter. Like I was just like, man, this is awesome. This is another chance just to get to coach. And then I got to run the offense. Like I got to run like what the varsity was running. So I got to practice of like making in-game adjustments and stuff. So for me, like, it was like, this is good. A lot of these guys, they played high school basketball, and some of them, like the guy, the kid who played point guard for me, he started for us this last year, and he scored 20 points and a half in a JV game against a Division I JUCO. And then, so long story short, we went out and we beat State Fair on their home opener the second year. But it was just like the mission and the belief and the what we do and the way the guys linked arms and the way the guys believed in each other. Like, we're going out there and we're going to leave it all out there. It wasn't just not to get blown out. It was just that we're going to respect ourselves enough that we're going to do right by all the work that we've put in and by each other. And they just, the biggest thing about that game that I remember is that how hard everybody cheered for each other. Because we have 9 guys, like really, maybe 10, but 9 guys really. We really have 6 guys that can score on that court. And then the other couple guys are out there just fighting for their lives, like inside, just pushing and fouling. They shot a bunch of free throws. They missed a bunch of free throws. But it really was just like, to me, like that was just the experience of true belief. Like they really did. Like those guys, man, they practiced hard and they didn't care where it was or where we had to go. The following game, we played Swick at Swick, and they were right outside the top 25. We lost 96-92. I mean, we just go out and we just burned it. We let it go. Like, we just shot with confidence. We picked on matchups. We made their bigs guard guys that could handle it. Like, it's honestly like, it's kind of a nightmare if you really think about it. It's people that play with that conviction and with like, not that they don't have anything to lose, but they also know that, what they're doing is what is needed and also is what is wanted. You know what I mean? For the first time, we want you to do this. You know what I mean? You're being asked to do something, like it's an honor. Like if I'm being asked to be a part of a team, like it's an honor. It should be an honor to be a part of a team. Like, you know what I mean? Like I should feel some type of way. I shouldn't just feel like it's just like any other day. Being on a team should be special. It should be something that is like coveted. It should be something that's protected. That when the next year comes around, because that's what I was so proud about. It's like they got their butts kicked that year before, and a lot of those same guys came back for more. And it's like, dude, that's powerful. That's more powerful than anything. Like the guys that come back for more, man, and the guard that's on there, he's going to probably start for us this year. Like, and he's been an underdog his whole career. And redshirted, played JV, sat varsity, then finally got to play and start and then get to start. Like, you don't see that very often anymore. Just the perseverance of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why so very last game with Webster, you and Chris were there. We played McClure for the district chip, caught the L, and I was crying. And I remember like I came out from the locker room. I made a beeline to you guys, and then like little family moment, you know, hugging it out. And then Lucas was like trying to like build me up, like, you know, you want some championships, like whatever. But like for me, it wasn't really about we lost. It was about like I'm not going to be part of that team. Mm. I'm not going to be with that group of guys for 90 practices in a season. You know, that's what got me, was that team. And like you said, I mean, I can't speak for anybody, but I feel like that is a little bit more, well, you were saying what's rare is like the persevering through JV and then redshirting and then to stick with it. Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome. It
is. And that's what makes the end, right? Yeah. It's like, because you were the same way. I mean, like you fought your way on up to get the opportunity to, you know, to play and be one of the guys, you know what I mean, that they're throwing the ball to. Like, dude, you worked your butt off to do that. Like, at the end, it's, you know, that's what makes the end like that. It's all the work, it's all the relationships, it's all the ups and downs, it's all the turmoil, it's all the success, it's all those things. It's a whirlwind for guys. Shoot, at anything. It was high school, college. Like, I can't tell you how many games. I was actually lucky to be at a lot of those kind of games, as far as like district championship games and stuff, and just trying to make it out. And because it's like, win or lose, man, it's like those are moments you never forget. You're never going to forget that game. You're never going to forget the practices and all those things. And then at the end of the day, like, nobody's going to give a crap about who won that game. They're really not. Like, there's going to be people that are standing on a sideline somewhere that care, but you know what I mean? Like, people that really play, really hoop, like they understand. Like, it's so much bigger than that. It's so much bigger than what that game was. It was what it stood for. It's the end of a chapter, and then you're graduating, you're doing all these things, and then you have to transition out. You know what I mean? And then it's a whole nother thing, and then you're back down at the bottom of the rung again. And then, so like, if you can do it 2 times in a row, like I'm guessing that this kid I'm telling you about is probably going to be pretty emotional at the end of this year. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like 8 years of just doing it. And that's rare, man, because it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that much. It really doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of life lessons learned through it, for sure. All right, so this is how we usually end the pod. So 2 things. One is any last message that you want to leave the people with. Maybe it's like a common theme that we've touched on that you want to touch on again, or just anything that's on your chest, get it off, motivational words of wisdom, whatever it is. And then 2, where people can find you. If you want 305 DMs in your Twitter, you can go ahead and plug that. Instagram, or like the MoBap website, or whatever you feel like plugging. So any words of wisdom, whatever it is, and then where people can find you.
Words of wisdom. The only thing that I would say is, especially for coaches and trainers, never underestimate how much the impact is that you're making on people, and never think that it's small. Like, never think that it's too small. Like, always give more. That's been a thing, like, that I've learned. Like, it's never too small. Like, even if you can give a little bit of time, or you can give back just a little bit, you can really change the trajectory of somebody's career, somebody's life, and you can impact somebody. And it doesn't have to be like a storybook, you know. It can be small things, and I think that's the biggest thing is just to pay it forward in that way, and to keep giving back. Because I think that's really how you find success, is helping people. If you can help enough people, you'll have success. for sure. And then where you can find me, you can find me Chris Forrest on Instagram or X, or you can find me on Mobap. On the website, they have my email. So if anybody wants to hit me up, they can.
Go flood the DMs. That is, I forget what episode that is, but very awesome full circle moment. I appreciate you taking the time. 100%.
I think this is awesome, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. That is whatever episode that is in the books. Peace.